It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. That's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
Just use Ampace.
Ampace.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US. Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at Ulike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ULIKE.com. Ulike.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Hey ho, it's the Pete Sousa Show. We are back, baby. Back in Texas. Happy to be back. A long week on the road. We took you to Radio Row in San Francisco. I went out to Creighton for a basketball game in Omaha. Was home in time yesterday for the Super Bowl drubbing. Patriots, obviously, on the business end of a loss to the Seattle Seahawks, which meant I was on the business end of that one because I was all in on the Patriots. Across the board on several different opportunities wager-wise. And, yeah, it didn't go well. But, you know, Super Bowl, sucker, Sousa, alliteration, I don't know. But Seahawks win. And we were so happy to be presented by Slovakics. By the way, we're up to 95,000, almost 96,000 subs. So the Super Bowl helped a little bit. I think my good buddy Julie Hayes here in Central Texas, or down in Central Texas, did a nice story on us being at the Super Bowl. You can check that out on kwtx.com. And that was cool. A little promo never hurts. What a week. We'll be getting into that week, unpacking it, because we have a full week of shows with no interruptions. No basketball for me until Saturday, which means we'll go right through the week at 10 a.m. We also have an interview scheduled with Doug McNamee, Baylor's athletic director. That's going to tape tomorrow afternoon. We'll air it at some point this week. But super encouraging that Baylor reached out to me and they said, hey, Doug McNamee, we want you to have a talk with him. So it makes me know that we're headed in the right direction as far as this show is concerned. How about Visser? You see over my left shoulder, you're right. These are, so Visser gave me a birthday / wedding present at the Super Bowl. And I talked about it last week on the show, but now I have them framed over my left-hand shoulder. You're right. These are Dick Stockton's boards, not only for the NFL on Fox, but for the Super Bowl, the international feed. So I think these are so awesome. A legend like Dick Stockton did, and a legend like Chris Visser. I mean, it's about time somebody outside of me tries to enhance the look around here, because every goddamn morning I have a show. It's like me trying to I just want to go someplace. Maybe I should just have Cam go with me wherever I go, because he takes care of business. Like, let me tell you, the Super Bowl, like, at times the sound wasn't perfect, but boy, it looked great. I mean, it looked amazing. What a special week. And again, we'll get into that, but it's time to talk about the game first. We have Pete Kendall coming up. Former offensive lineman in the NFL for a very long time, a Massachusetts guy, went to Boston College, was drafted by the Seahawks. Curious to see where his allegiance was yesterday, and also what he felt about how he felt about the Patriots offensive line. It was really porous, and I'm going to give you my 30,000 foot view, right? Because I don't pretend to be somebody who was inside the Patriots locker room before the game. I have a lot of knowledge around football. I think I know what I see, but again, there's so much more that we don't know to all this stuff. Drake May, two things. One, I think he probably was nursing some kind of injury, which hurts your confidence. Two, there was nobody protecting for him. And that combination completely blew up the Patriots' ability to throw the football and move it quickly. A third thing, I thought the game plan was super conservative. And, I don't know, like, I'm not trying to point blame at anybody, but it was funny early in the game. By the way, Collinsworth, I thought, did a tremendous job, because he's authentic and he's transparent, and he stops just short of like crushing guys, but you can tell. And, he said early in the game, well, I tell you what, Mike, Drake May, he's happy he's not playing in the snow. And then by the third quarter, I was thinking, like, I bet he wishes he was playing in the snow. And then I thought, and I was going to text Cam this, but I didn't want to be that guy. Like, I thought, like, we could find out that Drake May was on coke last night. Like, that is, like, there's all these things that, again, like, we don't know, which I'm sure he was not, by the way. But the protection, the injury, lingering mentally, physically, whatever that was on the scale of things. And then, obviously, I just felt like the conservative game plan. They never gave him a shot to get lathered up. And, by the time it felt like he was getting lathered up a little bit, I felt like the game was in the bag for Seattle. Cam, I'm curious to get football perspective wise, your thoughts on this. Cam Stewart, ladies and gentlemen, he is in Boston, Massachusetts. Last week, he was actually, it turns out he was a Super Bowl jinx. He got a picture with Malcolm Butler. He posted it on the day of the game. Malcolm was really cool to you. And what did you say to Malcolm when you took the picture? I was a little embarrassed for you, actually.
Oh, you were?
Well, you said you were blacked out during the game. And then Malcolm, it's funny how you said you were blacked out during when he intercepted that pass, which I think you meant blacked out by excitement. But yes, he took you for a typical drunk Boston sports fan and said, oh, you must have been lit. That means you were lit. But he was pretty cool.
Yeah, he was cool about it. Yeah, to peel back the curtain, I was a senior in high school, and I was just watching with a bunch of my friends, and we had a snow day the next day, so it was perfect. But yeah, like that moment, like I don't truly remember that moment. It was such a shock and excitement that like you don't even know. Someone has a video somewhere of our reaction, but like it almost like it wasn't real. Like he was an out of body experience. So that's what I told him. I said, yeah, I blacked out during that moment. I said he gave me maybe the greatest single moment of my life. So
hang on one second. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. What?
So you told him he gave you. I was going to put Murph called. I was going to give him a talking to for calling while we're doing the show. That pisses me off more than anything. When friends and family call during a show, I mean, like it's just
the 1 hour that they know you.
Well, the closest people to me in my life. That's what bothers me. Like my mom, calling me right in the middle of a game that like I consider to be big, and she's calling me because she needs somebody to help take the Christmas decorations, whatever. So. But you told Malcolm that he gave you the number one, and it was a pretty cool interaction, but it could be looked upon as a jinx because from that moment forward, nothing good happened for the Patriots. I think right after that, I bumped into that doctor that got into a fight with Ryan Leaf, and he told me that Drake was hurt. So let's take it a step forward now to the game itself. What did you make of Drake May's performance, and what do you attribute it to? By the way, one thing I did leave out, number 4, he's young, man. It's his first Super Bowl. When they were talking about Darnold and May and the difference in the game, I said out loud to Christy, who was so uninterested by my even presence back at home, which was kind of interesting. She was more annoyed by me talking during the Super Bowl than anything. I said, I think that this is experience a lot too, right? Sam Darnold just has the reps, but go ahead. Yeah. I digress, as I hate to say.
I mean, I think he was hurt. Like for sure, there's a bunch of different things you can point to, and I don't want to absolve Drake May of all the blame here. He didn't have a good game, man. He did not have a good game in the biggest game of his life. He did not have a good game, but my God, that offensive line was horrid. I mean, you want to talk about a young kid who had a bad game, and Drake May's firmly second behind Will Campbell. I mean, one of the worst performances we've ever seen in a Super Bowl, in a playoff game in general. He just got his.
Tell me why he was so bad.
Well, this has been building up for a couple of weeks.
This is your fourth pick in the draft.
Yeah, well, people are going to talk about how his arms aren't long enough to be a left tackle,
which they were talking about the moment he got drafted.
Yep, and all leading up to that. And there's there hasn't been a single Pro Bowl tackle with arms that small. So that's what they'll talk about. He also tore his MCL in December. So, he sat out whatever it was 4 or 5 weeks and then came back and just played through it. And Pete, you're an athlete, like you can play through an MCL. It's painful. It's probably not going to get any worse. But he was playing through that against 4 of the best, literally like 4 of the 5 best defenses in the NFL all the way through this game. So I think that's a part of it. But after a performance like that and a playoff like that, I think you do need to ask yourself, if you're the Patriots player personnel, is this our tackle? Or is he a good guard and we need to go out and get another tackle? And I think it's funny looking at the Seattle side of things. Gray name I'm forgetting, is a guard for the Seahawks, and he was drafted as a tackle. He was too small. They made him a guard, and now he's a Super Bowl winning guard. Yeah. So you could see that from Will Campbell. Back to Drake May, I think that's the offensive line is going to be a huge part of it. I think the injury was there, and I think it affected his decision making and what he felt. Yeah,
I mean that was the thing. Like there are throws you can't make, which I understand, but there were also decisions that were atrocious. That again, I'm not saying I could jump.
He never settled into the game, did he?
Yeah. And Collinsworth was doing a great job of hitting. He wasn't being a total dick, but when he was like, I got nothing for you, he had nothing to say outside of that was a terrible decision. You know what I mean? That was awful. Some of those throws were awful, and I don't know if
the fourth quarter were 2 of the worst he's had all year. One was picked off, and one miraculously wasn't. But that's what I was thinking.
There were a bunch on both sides that and I did appreciate how hard the Patriots defensive backs were playing aggression wise. The kid Christian Hernandez, Gonzalez. Sorry, he had a game for the ages, dude. I mean, awesome. He was everywhere. Is he that good?
Yes. He's one of the best kept secrets in the NFL. He was an All-Pro last year. Probably should have been an All-Pro this year, but he missed the first couple of games of the season. He was unreal. in that game. And like, not just in the way that Jarrell Revis, you never even hear his name called because no one's even throwing at him. Like, he made a couple of huge plays. He could have had a pick at the goal line right before the half that led to a field goal. He had that one just incredible play on that throw downfield at about midfield. Remember that one where he used like full stretch and tips one out? He's due for a pretty big contract here. Sauce Gardner went for $30 million last year. So that gives you kind of an idea of the kind of money Christian Gonzalez is going to be making. And we kept, I was there with some friends and some couples. And we kept referencing Gonzo Island. And at one point my fiance was like, can we stop making the pervert jokes? Can we stop making the Epstein jokes? I'm like, oh. Like,
That's
say
not
that
what
louder.
we're talking about.
Say that louder.
Hey,
it was a big ol' swing and a miss.
What do you think, Cameron? What did you think about the mindset of being conservative? Do you think that the Patriots almost went into that game and thought, if we are going to win, we're going to get a turnover or two from Sam Darnold and the Seahawks? They were banking on that, and they didn't get it. And it seemed like without that turnover, all of a sudden, like nothing made sense, right? Like on paper, like what they were trying to do.
Right. And that's why I go back to he's more hurt than he was letting on, or that anybody was letting on, because it was probably not a bad enough injury that it was going to realistically keep him out of the Super Bowl, right? Like that wasn't going to happen, but definitely enough to limit him. And that's where it comes in. Is I look back and I think the game plan was get a short field or two, because they blitzed Darnold all night. They almost had a couple of turnovers in that first quarter, first half. I mean, they were really, really close. And it had that feeling of like, well, they didn't get one. And they're not taking shots yet. I expected either shots early in the game or trying to establish the run, and they didn't really do either of them. They didn't really do either. So that must have played into it. But yeah, I think they were waiting for Seattle to make a mistake and then ready to pounce on it. And that mistake just never came. Like, Darnold did not play great at all. In fact, he didn't play much better than Drake May. He did play better than Drake May, but not much better. And he didn't turn the ball over. And that's why he was ultimately better.
Yeah, if you don't turn the ball over in games like this, you are giving yourself a major advantage and moving closer and closer towards winning a world championship. I thought that we were a couple times, and I think it was late in the first quarter or maybe early second quarter, I think you guys ran it on the third down. Am I right on that? It seemed like they had, they were taking the bat out of Drake May's hands, and after that point, I felt like every time that he threw the ball, it was almost as though Seattle knew he was going to like he was throwing in, whether it was second and very long or third and long. And it just felt like the deck was completely stacked against him all game long. So I didn't think he had a ton of help. But again, as well as the Patriots defense played, that team is constructed to get a break or two turnover wise if they're going to win against a team like Seattle. What was your biggest surprise takeaway from the game, from the way that the Patriots responded to the Seahawks?
Man, good question.
Yeah.
I would say it comes down to kind of the game plan. Josh McDaniels, like, is probably the best offensive coordinator of all time, like purely offensive coordinator. And there just didn't feel like there was any adjustments. Like, I was surprised they did not force a turnover, I guess, to go to the root of that question. Like, I was surprised that the Patriots did not force a turnover, short field, anything like that, mainly because, they've done it all season, all postseason, but it felt like they were close to one a couple of times early in that game. But the fact that they just never got Drake in a rhythm, they had but one drive really in the game. And it was that touchdown drive. That was the biggest surprise to me, is that there wasn't an adjustment. And that's, I guess, a testament to the Seahawks defense. It's that good. But it just never got him a couple of shallow crosses, some slant routes, hot routes, get him in the rhythm of things, and then take a shot that never materialized.
Yeah, I thought that he never played with any confidence. Like you said, the McDaniels thing was surprising. I think that's a great answer because it just seemed like the bat was taken out of Drake May's hand, and maybe for good reason, right? Maybe he was more hurt than we thought. There was some scuttlebutt about, that video, which I'm sure you saw, where he's talking to Josh McDaniels when they're playing the Broncos. He's like, this is hard. And, now the conspiracy is, well, he didn't mean like it was hard to play in a game like that or in the snow. It meant like he was hurt, like his arm really was hurting. I think I was the most surprised with Drake May because going into the game, and I didn't watch every snap like you, but he was like a couple votes shy or one vote shy of the MVP. Like, yeah, so we're talking about a guy who was the best player in the league potentially all year long, right?
But he played a weak schedule, Pete.
Well, Cam, like, I think you feel better about him not being the MVP after this performance. That's my point. Like, I was shocked at how pedestrian he looked because of all the heat around him. And not necessarily, I guess, heading into the game, because like you said, people were saying he had an easy go at it in the postseason and in the regular season. But I don't know. I was shocked at how little we got from him and how bad he looked, regardless of what was going on. That was jarring to me,
Yeah.
And I believed in him. I mean, I put my money where my mouth was. Like I was like, this guy is going to do great. Sam Darnold is going to be Sam Darnold. We're going to see something special happen tonight. And it's great because you couldn't have been any more wrong.
I mean, yeah. And looking back on it, Pete, you're going to get the inevitable talking heads thing of, is this the worst Super Bowl team of all time?
No.
Which personally couldn't give less of a fecal matter. Like you played in the Super Bowl, the worst doctor of all time is all right. They were a doctor. You know what I mean? Don't really care. But I think it's not sour grapes to look at it and say that was probably not a Super Bowl roster. Like,
and I think they know that
enough around them.
Yeah, they didn't expect to be there. You could see that.
Like even that 0-1 team, the Patriots' first Super Bowl with Brady coming in early in the season, like that team did have a really good offensive line. They had a pretty good run game to go along with the great defense that they had. They had a couple of sure-handed receivers, and the Patriots, had Diggs. Booty had a nice season, but it's really not much different from the wide receiver room that was probably the worst in the league last year. So you just look at it and you say, yeah, they probably were there because of Drake May in covering up a lot of holes, flex sealing a lot of holes to begin with. And it might have served them better in terms of a narrative if it went the same way the Bears did and they lost in the first round. They lost a tight game, but they had a nice turnaround season. But instead, everyone saw them get embarrassed in the Super Bowl. So narrative-wise, that might be a big difference, Not to say that I'd rather have the Bears season, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, look, what about you personally? Like, where were you at, like, from kickoff to close? Like, we talking gummies? We talking beers? We talking both? Any meltdowns? If there was meltdown, what quarter was it in?
I've gotten 2 wellness texts since we started the show. A couple of wellness texts. It was a small party, couple of drinks, took some gummies at halftime because I knew it was either going to make the moment that much better or give me some perspective when it went wrong, and it obviously went wrong. I don't know, man.
Meltdown, public meltdown.
No public meltdown. Nope. I mean, that would have been more likely if they lost by a field goal. Like I would have really lost it. But like,
in a game like this, you got to be happy. We were there out in San Francisco. There was talk about you staying for the game. You got to feel good about that decision. Like this is the worst. Right?
Maybe I learned my lesson from Game 4 of the NBA Finals when I went to see the Celtics win the NBA title in Dallas and lose by 38 points after spending $600. Maybe he learned his lesson. But yeah, people were like, my fiance was big into it on the way home of like, you okay? It's okay. I'm so sorry it's happened. And I'm just like, yeah, it is what it is. That was my take.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I do think this team will be back. I know history doesn't necessarily agree with the quarterback losing the first time and getting back to the Super Bowl. But I think this team was way ahead of schedule to be in this game. So like it was tough for me to be completely down in the dumps. I know it's not a given that you get back, but I do feel kind of confident in this core. I do feel confident in Drake May going forward after this. So it wasn't as devastating as the Brady ones. Those were like all like big time lows, like couldn't talk about it for a week, like couldn't go on the internet, like deleting social media for a couple of weeks. This isn't quite that. And a part of it is I have to talk about it now, but this isn't quite that.
You're a professional.
It's not fun. It's not fun. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's not as desolate. Like I wasn't mean to anybody today or yesterday because of that. So,
you didn't project your stuff on anybody else.
Yeah, I wasn't scaring the dog or anything. Yeah.
Not yet. Hey, one thing about the game that I was really, to me, I thought was a death nail was when the 3 and out after halftime. I thought that was
58 seconds.
That to me, I felt like, okay, first of all, the halftime is long. Josh McDaniels is brilliant. We could see a whole different game in the second half. I truly believe that because it's not like Sam Darnold or the Seahawks were, an offensive juggernaut. But that 3 and out, to me, I was like, that's all I need to see. You really, I mean, I still held out hope, but
two plays for me, both in the third quarter. One of them, they finally got a bit of a play. Marcus Jones had a nice kickoff return, punt return. Actually. That got him right about midfield, maybe a little bit over. And there was an unnecessary block at the back. Marcus had the angle, and it's the point of the spot of the foul, so it ends up being worse than just fair catching it. That was a big one. And they had a series, one of the 3 and outs in the third quarter, one of many, where they ran a sweep to Travion Henderson and got 9 yards on first down. Then they handed it to him on the inside, and he ran right into the butt of one of his offensive linemen.
I said, that's when I almost blew my stack because I thought, if you're Josh McDaniels, you're playing with house money. It's second and short. Like, let's throw the goddamn ball down the field.
Yes.
And again, I can't say with a conscience like I know more than Josh McDaniels, but that surprised me. I'm like,
for a guy they don't run inside, they never run Henderson inside.
Yeah, what the hell, dude? Like, and at that moment, I felt like every time this kid throws, they're gonna know he's throwing. Like, and like that's gonna help him at all.
And to be fair, it was a 3rd and 3, and they had a look on a comeback route, and May just misses a throw. He just missed a throw, and that's where
he missed a bunch. What about the one throw where Collinsworth pointed it out, where I think he had Henry running across, like wide open behind the coverage from the 2-yard line?
Right. It was Hooper. Yeah, the other tight end.
Yeah, Hooper. He could still be running, dude.
They were from their own end zone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They ended up getting a first, but
touchdown.
Wide open.
It's a 1-score game. Like, and imagine that. Like, so whatever. We got Pete Kendall coming up, right? He's 1 minute, right? So,
Pete Kendall's coming up. Yeah.
Allegedly. All right. So we'll take a break. We're presented by Slovakic, Sikora Family Ford, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, a new partnership with Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers. And let me tell you, there's a good reason for that. If you find yourself in trouble, insurance getting ready to screw you over, call Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers. This is, of course, if you get into an accident. Scotty B, the Baylor King. Yeah, he was out of rhythm, but this is my favorite. We got a good one from Scotty B here. There you go. Bum, 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 bum. Scotty B, he's a heartbreaker. His birthday's on Valentine's Day. All right, we won't forget it, but if we do, we're saying happy birthday right now. Scotty B, the Baylor King. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Thank you for hanging in with us. Pete Kendall on the other side of this break. The Pete Sousa Show, presented by Seattle.
Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Save big during the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Drive a new Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with $13,000 off, or choose 0% financing. Get a new Laramie Crew Cab 4-wheel drive with 3.9% financing for 72 months, plus $15,000 off MSRP. Explore in a new Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, starting at $31,990. Happening now at Allen Samuels.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone, and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
The Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovakics. We go from one Pete to one who actually matters. Pete Kendall joining us right now. Massachusetts dude, former Seahawks offensive lineman, a great career in the NFL. BC guy, what's up, Pete? Thanks for joining us, man.
Hi, Pete. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Man, I have to ask you about this Super Bowl. I want to start with your allegiance because I hadn't talked to you about this at all. So you're a Patriots, a guy geographically, I would assume, growing up, and then you're a Seahawks, you know, a former member of the team, a member of the fraternity. Who were you rooting for last night?
Wasn't really rooting for either side, to be honest. I grew up here and have followed the Pats both before my playing days and since. And it's been exciting to see them get back and be relevant again. There's been a lot of drama that hasn't been particularly enjoyable, both off the field and on. So things are always better when the Pats are relevant. Of course, they were hugely relevant this year. And there are still people in the Seahawks organization, gray hair like mine, who were there when I was there. And I'm certainly delighted for them, happy that they've got their second Super Bowl title, and I'm sure it's going to be easy for them to get home. They're probably flying there by themselves, don't need the plane.
Hey, did John Schneider, was he part of the organization when you were there towards your tail end?
So John might have come in with Mike Holmgren.
Okay.
My last couple of years there were with Mike, and Mike was running the show then. So I'm not sure if John had a role under Mike, but obviously he's done a hell of a job since he ascended to the big seat. 2 Super Bowls, and the team's been largely relevant for most of his tenure. It's little bit different than what it was before I got there.
Yeah, a little, especially today. When you look at your career and your elite level of skill as an offensive lineman, when you watch that game last night, do you watch it through the lens of somebody who protected the quarterback in the NFL for so long? Is that something that you almost can't shake?
I do try to watch the game that way. You know, we're all at the mercy of whatever the TV cameras are showing at the time. So a little bit different than my days, you know, watching the back end tight copy film and rewinding 400 times a play. But yeah, I mean, you know, I think as an offensive lineman, we've all been in the situation where a defensive line who has the advantage of a fairly sizable lead is able to pin their ears back and get after you. And of course, that's a very uncomfortable place to be in for any offensive lineman, let alone, you know, in the Super Bowl with hundreds of millions of people watching potentially.
Yeah, for that Patriots offensive line, I mean, obviously there was a point in time where you mentioned the deck is stacked against them. So, you know, the Seahawks are coming after the quarterback, and they also did feel overmanned and outmatched at times, right? We talk about, you know, you were with the, like, when you look at Tom Brady and his Patriots team's loss in Arizona in 2008 against the Giants, it felt similar to that. I think Strahan and his defensive line had six sacks last night. You know, what is that like when you're an offensive line and you're trying to figure it out in real time on a stage like that?
Yeah, it's hard, right? I mean, obviously nobody grows up wanting to be an offensive lineman. It's kind of where you end up if you want to stay on the team because nobody else wants you. So you acknowledge the obvious that the defensive linemen are more athletic by and large than the offensive linemen. And when it turns into a pass rush game, it's essentially, you know, a game pitting the athletic skills of offensive linemen versus defensive linemen, and that's a mismatch. And you know, that's no surprise, and I don't mean that to be disparaging against my fellow fatties. But even those guys would admit you'd like to have balance. You'd like to keep them honest. You'd like to lean on them in the run game, and you know, all of that stuff kind of went out the window fairly quickly last night for New England, and it started to snowball there in the second half.
What did you think about Drake May? You know, obviously the guy's play speaks for itself. You know, when you're a candidate for the NFL MVP that late in the season, it's very clear that you've done a very good job. You've done very well all season long. But last night, whether it was the injury, whether it was confidence, whether it was a conservative game plan, I thought the fact that the Pats didn't get any turnovers out of Seattle really kind of handcuffed what they were trying to do overall as a team. But for Drake May, what would you attribute some of that rocky performance to? You know, is it a lack of experience? Do you think he was, you know, I think we all know he is still kind of banged up, but however much, you know, only he knows and only the team doctors know. But what did you see? What's your diagnosis of his performance and as to why he struggled?
Well, I mean, he faced nearly constant pressure, and I think it's only human that on the rare times that he wasn't under pressure to feel the pressure anyways, right? Because it had been there before, you expect it to be there after. I can't imagine that the injury helped anything. If you have to have an injury shot up before a game, it may not keep you from playing, but you're obviously not at 100%. You're diminished, and for a quarterback, and I don't know what's more important than your right shoulder, maybe your right hand. And you know, delivering the ball. But I think it was sort of all of the above. I think he was under a ton of pressure. It's a huge stage. He's a young fella. I think he's just turned 23 years old. You know, it was just it didn't turn out to be their night. A lot of credit, of course, to Seattle for the pass rush, for the defensive design, the scheme. I think they tricked him more than a few times, getting some free runners home. And you know, I never had the pleasure of getting whacked in the ribs by a free runner from, you know, the 20-yard head start. So I would imagine that can be dispiriting after a while.
Not even growing up in Quincy.
No, my quarterback days didn't feature a lot of drop back.
So Pete, when you're watching this game, I think we do have to turn the page, like you said, and give the Seahawks a ton of credit. What was most impressive about their game plan last night? You know, Mike McDonald, and this is how we roll in the NFL. Right now, he's the new hot coach. I mean, if you bumped into him in the lobby yesterday at the Super Bowl, like, you might be a big coaching candidate too now. Like, that's how this stuff works. So where is, you know, that game plan to you as far as when you look in the annals of great game plans in the Super Bowls? Like, where do you put that? What did you make of the Seahawks attack yesterday?
So I think you touched on something, Pete, in your last question about how it appeared that maybe the Patriots were giving the Seahawks some rope and hope that they'll hang themselves. I think they were hoping to get some turnovers and hoping that Darnold gave them opportunities for short fields and things of that sort. And to their credit, the Seahawks didn't. They didn't turn the ball over. They didn't make critical mistakes. They really didn't participate in their own demise. And they just kept chipping away and just kept stacking, you know, field goal here, field goal there. Next thing you know, it's 9-0, 12-0. And it gets to 19, and then, you know, the playing field gets really slanted. And so I'm assuming that was the plan going in. They didn't seem to take a lot of unnecessary chances. They didn't seem to be trying to force the ball into tight windows or down the field. I think they felt like going into the game that they might have the better ball club, and that if they played a cleaner game, that things would turn their way, and certainly that's how it played out.
You know, I think Chris Collinsworth did a tremendous job. You know, he's a character, but he did a really good job guiding folks like me through the game last night. Somebody like you, who's a former player, what did you think about his analysis of the game, just to have a little fun? And then, who is your favorite guy? If there's a favorite analyst that you really, you know, are like, man, I'm vibing with what that guy's saying. Is there one that you have that you find to be the most fruitful for you to listen to?
Not really, to be honest. I sometimes, you know, where I'm watching, you can't hear it. Other times, I'm more interested in what I'm seeing instead of trying to listen to what somebody's, you know, telling me that they see. Just because I think oftentimes I'm looking for different things. You know, most of the commentators are former quarterbacks or people, you know, more versed in the passing game or the skill positions. Of course, my eye goes naturally to the fattest people on the field, and try to examine the game through that lens.
Hey, Cam Stewart's with us here. He's a Boston guy. Cam, come on up. Cam, do you have any questions for Pete? I mean, Pete, can you tell who Cam was rooting for last night? But what do you got? I mean, Cam's probably right down the street from you, Pete. But Cam, what do you got? Anything?
I was just going to ask, you know, we talked a lot of offensive line. I was going to focus in on Will Campbell and the 14 pressures allowed in the game. It's a record. It's the most we've seen, a record for a Super Bowl, most we've seen in a game this season. Pete, you know, there was so much talk last year about him. Is he really a guard? And a lot of it came down to the arm length. So as someone who was in there and in the trenches, I wonder just how much that means to you. Is arm length like a real thing when we're talking about the difference between tackle and guard, or you just need some dogs out there?
No, I mean, I think it is a real thing. I had a similar experience. I had played left tackle in college as well, and I got out to my first mini camp playing for the legendary Howard Mudd, and Howard said, "Okay, so you're going to move inside to guard." I said, "No, Howard, I'm a tackle. I'm sure you watched the film." He said, "Yeah, no, you're a guard." I looked at the measurement, and you're going to go inside. And you know, that was the right call for me. I don't know ultimately, you know, what Will was dealing with physically. There's some talk he came off of an injury, he had an MCL. I'm not around the guy from day to day, so I don't know nearly as well as a guy like Doug Marrone and his assistants and the personnel people in that department. Is Will, you know, closer to his ceiling than his floor right now physically? And if so, then is this the type of performance that you might come to expect down the road, which suggests maybe, you know, transitioning inside might be the right thing to do? They also might look at him and be like I looked at him, I think he moves well. I think he's got really good movement skills. I think he can bend and anchor. So can he get stronger? Can he improve his hand work, his hand placement, and his hand fighting? And, you know, that's a decision that people who are closer to it than me will make. But unfortunately, you give up 14 pressures on the biggest stage, and that's a conversation that is going to have to be had.
One more question for you.
If I could,
go ahead,
Pete, if I
Cam.
could follow up with our other Pete here, and then I'll get off the screen. But you know, you talked about having that right at the beginning of your career, that discussion. You were first round pick. Will Campbell's a first round pick. You know,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Cam.
Yeah, you know, you're thinking I'm coming in, I'm going to be the franchise left tackle. And this obviously comes early for you before you play an entire season where you go to the Super Bowl. But just take us into what that conversation is like for you, who's been playing left tackle, who thinks you're going in the first round because you're a left tackle, to then move to guard, and what the emotions are with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd had some inkling that it was coming. I had played some guard for Howard in Seattle in the Senior Bowl, oddly enough, year that they drafted me. And so for me, it wasn't a big surprise. I also wasn't the fourth pick overall, right? I mean, typically fourth picks overall are impact players. If they're on the offensive line, they're almost exclusively left tackles, but tackles in general. And so, you know, for me, it was fine. I wasn't surprised, a little disappointed, but I will share with you, a year later, we drafted Walter Jones, I think, fifth or sixth overall. And I said, well, if that's a left tackle, I'm not a left tackle. I ain't that. And so, you know, you do, I think, have to recognize your own limitations and where the best fit is. You know, Howard saw that, or thought that my best fit was inside. And as it turns out, I think he was 100% right. The people in that building down at Gillette Stadium will make that, you know, they'll have those conversations, they'll make those evaluations, and they'll determine, you know, if the best fit for Will is inside, or maybe it's a little bit too early to close the book on a 21, 22-year-old kid. Let's maybe give him another opportunity, some more coaching, a year to develop, et cetera, and see how that turns out.
Yeah, and last question on this, just I don't want to ruminate on it forever, but you know, being a fourth pick, you and Cam kind of touched on this. It's harder to move off that, almost if you're a general manager, right, or his position coach that was, hey, we got to take this guy fourth. He's going to be a great left tackle. Does that slow the process of a change there? Like, does he get a little more time because of that?
I mean, it wouldn't shock me, right? I think, you know, we've both observed this game in this league long enough to know that sometimes the old sunk cost fallacy, as much as you might study it in B school and know it on a rational level, you know, on an emotional level, you still feel like, hey, we invested a high pick here, and so we want to maybe give this more of an opportunity than we would say if we had spent a sixth round pick on a guy. So I don't know what those conversations are. I will say, you know, in defense of the Patriots, not that they need my defense, but you can only make picks in the year that they're having the draft, right? And so it maybe in other years, Will wouldn't have been seen as a top five pick. But I think there was a clear consensus last year that it was one of the top five players on the board. The Patriots had a need there, and they had a player that, you know, was pretty universally regarded as the best offensive line prospect. And so you do what you can. We'll see where it goes. Again, repeating myself, we'll see where it goes from here. But it definitely does make it harder, or at least it has for many people, to move on from a super high pick at a premium position, and maybe move them over to a position that's not quite as esteemed so highly.
You mentioned the finance, like making investments, you know, and your finance background right now. What exactly are you doing? You're a good guy to talk to about investments. What exactly are you up to right now for people that don't know, that have lost track of a guy like you, who's not exactly, you're pretty normal. It's not like you're posting what you're up to on Instagram every day. So if people don't know what Pete Kendall's up to, give us an update.
Yeah, so I'm still trying to figure out what I'll be when I grow up. I worked for 10 or 12 years in and around the finance industry, and you know, now that the kids are gone and out of the house, I took a step back and trying to figure out what the next steps are. I would love to get involved in the right situation from a football perspective.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. But if not, you know, maybe go back and find something in the finance side.
Would you be a coach, like an O-line coach at Boston College, or, you know, something like that?
Yeah, I'd be willing pretty much to pack up and go anywhere right now. It's just my wife and I and a little dog, and So, if the right opportunity presented itself, I very much would like to get involved. It's been a priority for me now for several years, and haven't found the right fit yet, but still hopeful.
Any way we can help, Pete, please always reach out. Yeah, I mean, it was really insightful talking to you. You made me a smarter football fan today, and hopefully everybody else. So I appreciate the time, man. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Pete, and pleasure to meet you and Cam as well, and good luck with the show.
All right, man. Pete Kendall. That guy was good, by the way. I remember. So Pete, Cam, was when I was working with McShay at the War Room. He was like a senior. This is 99, like our first year doing that, working for Gary Horton. And Todd was a Massachusetts guy, so he was always talking about Kendall. And this is when we were actually, watching film on these guys. He was nasty. So Pete had a great NFL career. So I would assume he's a perfect fit to be a coach almost anywhere he wanted to be. We'll keep tracking that and keep putting that out there. The Pete Sousa Show, we will be back. I got 3 things for you when we come back from break. 1, I'm going to tell you actually who won the Super Bowl. 2, we're going to talk a little bit about Bad Bunny's halftime show was what. And I'm going to tell you about a real special story. I called Creighton and Seton Hall this week for NBC in Omaha, and there was a magical situation that took place, and I promise it was not me being there. We'll be back after this.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
Experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
BosleyMD.com.
Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at FullwellFertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at GEVI.com to discover more.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
Stability.
The Pete Sousa Show. I'd like to say hi to our friend Steve Turnberger. Berger could be watching right now. The guy is like, you want to talk about the most interesting man in the world. He's in Waco tonight for Baylor BYU on Tuesday. By the way, BYU's lost 4 straight, guys. And for Baylor fans out there keeping score, Rob Wright didn't have a 4-game losing streak last year with the Bears. I will say that. And I'm shocked to see BYU lose 4 straight. The way that they handle that game in that environment, if enough fans get, bug up their ass to go kind of give Rob Wright a hard time, you want to talk trap. Yeah, look out. And Baylor played well against Iowa State on Saturday. Well enough. Couldn't get it done down the stretch. The usage of timeouts and fouls was puzzling, but, again, I'm not a coach. Great to talk to Pete Kendall. That guy, you would think. My first thought was to reach out to Anthony Becht about him. But Anthony is coaching the Orlando UFL team. Now, Anthony probably already has a staff, but they played against each other in the Big East, West Virginia and Boston College. I think Pete would be a kick-ass addition to any staff. You can believe that. A bright guy, a really guy, a guy who made the most out of his talents and skill level in the NFL for a long time. You would think that he would be a perfect fit somewhere. The fact that he wants to lend his services to a team and possibly being like an O-line coach, that could be great for a team that would take him on. So we're going to keep with the Super Bowl. Like I said, I got 3 topics. Okay, number 1. We'll start with something that a lot of people are interested in, like the halftime show. Okay. I want to say this. All right. And this is the cesspool that is our society and social media now. All right. Let me hop on my high horse. Like if people weren't so invested socially, I wouldn't have thought anything about this performance leading up to it. Like I really like, okay, so I remember, wasn't it like 2016 or no, I think it was 2019. Shakira and J-Lo were on the stage in Miami. Now, I know they were singing in English and maybe more familiar acts to people like in America, but I don't think, if we hadn't made such a big deal out of the fact that Bad Bunny was only going to speak Spanish or sing in Spanish, and maybe you could say like, well, his camp or people behind him or that whole deal were quick to put that out there. But I think it's a great example. Like if I had dropped from the moon as a Martian onto Earth and I'm watching the Super Bowl halftime show, I would not think anything. Like that was probably a bad example because a Martian would have no context on what the Super Bowl is. But if I'd been in a slumber for, let's say, if I'd been frozen in ice, right? And I came back to life and I was like, oh, wow, it's a Super Bowl. And I'd be like, oh, wow, who's this new cool young act? He's only speaking Spanish. He's out there. He's got swagger. Everywhere I look, there's another 10, by the way, for guys. I mean, so let's be real. Like if you're into that whole side of things, like not much complaining there for red-blooded American males. I thought the performance was cool. It wasn't, I wouldn't have picked him, but like, who cares? I do think, and we mentioned this yesterday, it's a marketing play by the NFL. We mentioned it last week, I think. The NFL, as it sits right now, is bursting at the seams in the United States, popularity-wise. So, obviously, they want to crash through another ceiling or break through another ceiling, and they want to do it internationally. So, this certainly helps that effort. And I get it. That it's a business, whatever. It's just nothing... the part of the performance where it said the only thing stronger than hate is love. I appreciate that. And I love the unity, but even like leaning into that, let's just perform and have fun. That's like Colin Cowherd had the most brilliant tweet. I thought during, I checked Twitter after halftime, and he was like, Republicans, worst halftime performance ever. Liberals, best halftime performance ever. Me, Patriots need to figure out a way to block Drake May in the second half. And honestly, that's kind of where my head was at during all of that. Cam, you just sent me a tweet. What is the tweet?
It's college basketball related, so I don't know if you want to get to it.
Oh, boy.
It's got Baylor. It's got Big 12. It's got your boy Tang.
I'd heard about this. All right, we'll get to that in a second. Okay. Some breaking news. But that's my thought on the Bad Bunny thing. I it's just not that big a deal. It's a big deal if you're Puerto Rican, and you want to get behind that and get excited. That's awesome for you. But if you're not, and it's different, chill out. I mean, honestly, chill out and get a hobby. I just don't think it's anything anybody should be that excited about either way. I don't. I think the more and more you go down that road, you're wasting time and energy. All right. So a couple things before we get to this piece of developing news. And it's not like something you're going to see splashed on your ESPN timeline, so I can wait a second. But it is very specific to this show. And honestly, I got to think about how I'm going to handle this. So who won the Super Bowl? Yeah, the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. But I'll tell you who won the Super Bowl. Kaylee Hartung won the Super Bowl. So she has been working with Amazon. And that was like a big call up for her, right? Like the fact that a few years ago, she got put on sidelines for Thursday Night Football. And I think that's why she left ESPN. I'm pretty sure it was that opportunity. And fused with that opportunity came more opportunities with NBC. Some on the Today Show, as like she did one as a correspondent where she went with the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and like kind of was embedded. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see her cheer, but she was with them like a whole week, and it was like a neat show. So she's doing like, the life stuff. But overall, she was a sideline reporter at ESPN. She also did some Sports Center, if I remember correctly, but she was a really good sideline reporter. Always like you could tell had the chops right away. I remember her doing a lot of College World Series, big events. And she last night was on the sideline for her first Super Bowl ever, which I would imagine there's a ton of nerves that come with that. Just like I would think even for us being on Radio Row, being around that situation and the hype and the drama can almost throw you off doing a show like this from San Francisco. I can't even imagine what it would be like to be a part of that coverage. Now, a credit to NBC and networks like ESPN and CBS and Fox. Like once you get into that universe, it's amazing all they do to get you prepared. Like those companies do a really good job. Every time I have a football game for ESPN, basketball, you're a little bit more on your own, but like they're going to get you prepared. I can't imagine how much they get, those guys prepared for this game. That being said, you still have to go out there and kick ass. Her reports from the sideline were quick, insightful. They were necessary. Like the JSN stuff, Jackson Smith and Jigba, like she was all over his injury. And she said one thing, which I was surprised she had the courage to say it. She said he opted off the field. Like he was like, let's go. I want to go back to the training room. And she cleaned it up, not even cleaned it up. She followed it up with a report like, hey, he's back out here. He's healthy. So clearly he didn't want to go to the locker room because he was a wimp. He wanted to go to the locker room because that's where he thought he could get the treatment he needed to get back in the game, whatever that was. But she was all over it. Conversely, Melissa Stark, who's great and who is so experienced in this, just wasn't as lights out and quick and concise when they went to her. I just thought as a side, like on the stage where you can't get a better opportunity to show your skill set. And she was ready. She met the moment. And I think like for her career, last night was very good news. I've always thought she was great, but I mean, I said it to Christy last night, but then of course you can't compliment a woman without like, all of a sudden it's like, oh, and I'm like, oh, Christy, she might look like you a little bit. And then it's like the nerve of me, right? Okay. So whatever. But Kaylee Hartung, thumbs up. My fiance does not think she looks like you, but you did a great job. All right. one positive thing before we get into our negative news story. So this weekend, like, sports are awesome. And here's why they can be awesome. Because during a tragedy, they can bring people together. Over the course, 2 years ago, I had an opportunity to call Iowa and Kansas State. It was an NIT game. It was on ESPN. I called it with Jess Settles. Jess played at Iowa. And this kid, Josh Dix, was playing for Iowa, and he was great. He was really good. And he was one of their featured and most, their biggest contributor. And they won that game. And I think they won maybe another game in the NIT, but they got knocked out. And then last year was a down year for Iowa. But again, Josh Dix I think he led the team in scoring. He shot like 40% from three. He averaged like 15, 16 points in the Big Ten. Okay. But then Fran McCaffrey gets fired. So when Fran McCaffrey, the head coach of Iowa, gets fired, Josh Dix is like, man, where am I going to go to school? Well, this is where God works in mysterious ways. That's what Doug McDermott said, the head coach of Creighton. If Josh Dix doesn't get fired, he doesn't get the opportunity to go to if Fran McCaffrey doesn't get fired, Josh doesn't completely pivot and go to school at Creighton. Now, Creighton was the place where Josh grew up. He grew up in Council Bluffs, which, if you know Iowa and Nebraska a little bit, it's like Iowa and Omaha. It's like right 4 miles away from Omaha is Council Bluffs. Like, I'm such an idiot. I'm driving from the Omaha airport to campus. Like, you do one of those deals where you switch into Iowa and then you go back to Nebraska, at which point when I switch into Iowa, I'm so worried about my ability to find places. I'm like, oh my God, I got off the wrong plane. I'm in Iowa. Like, I'm like, no, you're good, dude. You're just keep driving straight. But Josh Dix was able to come home, transfer to Creighton, and be around a situation that's bigger than any of us. His mother, Kelly, was diagnosed with colon cancer 3 years ago, and she passed away on Wednesday. Now, there's really no way. You can't put that in a microwave or anywhere where you can make it okay. But you can look at the silver linings of things. And the silver lining is that Josh Dix got to play his last, the last 8 months, he has been home really close with his mom. Now, the story is this, like, not only has he been assisting his mom and his family emotionally for support, he's been playing Division I basketball in the Big East, averaging over 10 points, close to 11, but not having one of his signature years because of all this going on off the floor. Also happening for him off the floor. He has 3 brothers and sisters. One of them is special needs, and he's been taking care of this kid, with help from everyone else in the family. But he's been doing a lot of it. Like, Doug McDermott talked to myself and Jess, my broadcast partner, Saturday before the game. He said, this has not been anywhere near like a functional season for Josh as far as repetition, that we always talk, right? Like, what is your schedule? What is your flow? How are you competing, like, on a daily basis, right? What's your regimen? And he hasn't had one this year, but he has had the opportunity, obviously, to assist his family and to be there. She died Wednesday of last week. He played in a game Wednesday night at Georgetown on the road. And his first game back home was Saturday against Seton Hall. We're on the air at this time, but they announced his name into the starting lineup. And as I'm on the air, I can feel the ovation in the arena. Remember, his mom, Kelly, went to Creighton, graduated from Creighton in 2002. His dad had Creighton season tickets. And the kid goes into the game and he plays his ass off. He's efficient. I think he had 16 points. He had gone through a stretch, guys, where this is one of the best three-point shooters in the country. And people didn't talk much about this because why would they? It's kind of dark. He had missed 19 straight threes, okay? Snapped out of it against Georgetown. And I think he was like 50% in this game against Seton Hall, something like 5 for 10 or, 4 for 8. I don't have the stats right here with me. But his team won the game, and they won on a buzzer beater. A buzzer beater won them the game. But one of the biggest reasons they won the game is Josh Dix is their best defender, too. And down the stretch, they couldn't stop this dude, Bud Clark, on Seton Hall, who's from Philly, by the way. So Josh is like not a sneaky defender. He's probably the best defender on Creighton and was one of the best defenders on Iowa. Again, don't let the looks fool you. Yeah, skinny white kid, whatever. Dude's lethal, okay? lethal, and was lethal in the Big Ten and is lethal this year, playing with the heaviest of hearts in the Big East. But the fact that his team came together and was able to support this kid and was able to, be with him on the road. He's got a teammate, right? His teammate, Harper, right? Blake Harper. Blake's mom died of cancer 2 years ago. When Blake Harper was playing for Howard in DC. And Blake Harper was there on this team to help Josh Dix go through this. And it was emotional for Blake Harper. He was emotional 2 games ago. They had a pink out game in Creighton. But I say all that to just celebrate the game. And like, sports brought everybody together, gave Josh Dix support, gave a guy like, Blake Harper support, helped Greg McDermott navigate everybody. But you want to talk about an emotional week. We had a post-game interview we did with Greg McDermott, and I actually put it on the Pete Sousa page if you want to check it out. Because it was amazing. But we're reminded so often, like, life is way bigger than sports, but sports can really help us out through life. And I thought that was really awesome. All right, Cameron, come on up.
Here we are.
Who are you talking to, by the way?
The missus came into the room.
What's Grace up to?
I don't know. She's just chilling.
Where's Tara?
Working. She was outside a few minutes ago. I could tell you that. I could hear that.
Does Grace work from home?
Sometimes. Hybrid.
That's great.
She was in the office this morning and is now home.
Yeah, Christy's downstairs.
Nice.
Biggest
fans. Am I right, fellas?
Our biggest fans. All right, let's read this.
Valentine's Day coming up for sure. By the way, how about this while you're pulling that up? I will be alone this Valentine's Day for maybe the most ironic reason possible.
Why?
I will be alone this Valentine's Day because my fiance will be with her family buying a wedding dress this weekend. So that is why.
By the way,
only weekend all the sisters could get free. So I was like, what? I don't care. I'll go to the BU UNH game alone. That's fine.
Those aren't cheap.
I know. I'm not buying it.
They're not cheap. I had a hand in buying ours, and they're not cheap. All right. So let's talk about something that sucks.
Yeah.
All right. So I've been, just because, calling Big 12 games and, working on that show Inside the 12 Cam, as you know, every week. You find it in all your Big 12 markets. Myself and King McClure breaking down the sport. This guy's actually a buddy of King McClure. So, developing story out of Kansas State. Men's basketball graduate assistant Mark Vital was arrested by Riley County Police yesterday. He's charged with domestic battery. He was a member of Baylor's 2020-21 national championship team. That's really all the info we have right now. Mark Vital, from what I can speak to, my interactions with him, is a great guy. But, I mean, this is well beyond me, a situation like this. I'm looking at the police report right now. It says that he was arrested. Let's see the date here. On the 9th. Oh, wow.
So the early hours of today.
So this may not be it, because here's the deal. Unless it was something that was followed up on, there's apparently something going on within Kansas State's athletic department or basketball team and staff. Have you read that too?
Well, it's just Jerome Tang just keeps hinting at something, and no one knows what it is. But what did he say this weekend? He was like, if you saw what the players had this week, you'd be proud of them too, or whatever. Like, proud they're even up here playing basketball. It's like, okay.
You know what? So I don't think
that gives me no. This sounds like
something that happened yesterday.
For the moment thing, but like what he's describing sounds like a Salinesi thing. Like someone's sick and someone's dying on the team. Is the way he's talking about it. But this seems pretty sudden. This Mark Vital, who's on the show every day, is right behind me here on the 21 national championship thing. Big part of that Baylor team, obviously playing for Jerome Tang, and now coaching.
I mean, he has. And he was arrested at 12:04 a.m. this morning. Man, so there you have it. It was a knowing, rude, physical. It was the charge is domestic battery, knowing, rude physical contact with family member or dating relationship. So 29 years of age. I mean, Riley County, that's in Manhattan, I would imagine.
Yep.
It's just me. It is, Cam? Or are you just saying yep?
No, I believe that's true. That Manhattan's in Riley County. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So that sucks for the woman, for Mark, for everybody involved. And man, that sucks for Coach Tang. I mean, in a year that it didn't seem like things could get any worse. They just got worse.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it feels weird to say when we have a victim in this case, but it's something that Jerome Tang really didn't need right now in terms of his job. But yes, down on the list of people who didn't need that.
And Vital's by the way, Vital's by all accounts a great guy, like a wonderful guy.
Yeah, it's not like he had troubles in college. Like there's nothing that we saw that would say that he's not. He's come back to Baylor quite a bit. Clearly wants to get closer to the game by being on Coach Tang's staff. This is not something where the Baylor people on the inside would be like, I'm not too surprised. Like
when you've had that in the past.
Yes,
programs have that.
And every program has it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I don't think Mark Vital will be one of those players.
All right. Well, that blows. Anything else? Do you want to end the show in a happy fashion? Tell us about your show.
Oh, yeah. We got the Wicked Boston show, 1 p.m. Eastern, so that's noon Central. Coming up live, we're going to talk with Mike DeBate of Sports Illustrated, comes on with us every Monday. And we're just going to post-mortem this thing. Post-mortem the Patriots. We're going to talk about why I talked about it earlier in the show, but why I'm still confident that they can get back there and that Drake May's career is not over after his first full year as a starter ends with him having a bad performance in the Super Bowl. I'm gonna tease something, Pete, that I'm gonna knock on wood. I'm not gonna try to jinx myself. We have a call in for the Wicked Boston show this week on 365 Sports, so promoting the network here.
Heyo.
That would be the biggest guest I have ever gotten, potentially at the end of this week. Like, name that everybody knows, name that you'll love. Unreal potential.
Bernie Carbo?
Even better.
All right, dude.
I love Bernie, though. That felt bad. Bernie was great for me.
Dude, that's impressive.
Just saying. It's not final yet, so I feel...
Well, these things, look, Pete Kendall wasn't final until he started talking. I mean, right until you can actually hear the noise. You never, in this world, you never know. And look, that doesn't discriminate. The David Letterman show used to have people back out all the time. That's just kind of how the world works. All the time. I don't know about that, but people would back out. So hold on, Cam. There's one more thing. Oh, I need you up here for this, and we'll be very quick. This is where I know that I'm crazy. I thought they should bench Drake May at points in the game. I was
you and Nick Saban.
I was like, why not? I was like, it is the Super Bowl. I was like, I understand that you could totally wreck, like, mentally, but I do think there's a conversation where you're like, Drake, this is your team. You are not yourself.
It's not your night.
You're hurt. Like, I have to go in a different direction. And then you play it 1,000% like that down the line. Like, if Josh Dobbs comes in and throws for 6 touchdowns, like, this is Drake. Like, yeah, get out of here with that. Josh can go play somewhere else and make a couple $1,000,000 if he's the hot name right now.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
No,
I don't think Josh. I get what you mean. I don't think Josh Dobbs is
the backup, right?
Yeah. I don't think he's giving you a better chance to win in that game.
No, but when I thought that's when Drake woke up. So a little.
I would have heard out like benching Will Campbell. Like they had Vidarian Lowe as their starting left tackle last year, and he was awful. They were terrible last year. It was one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen. But this year, when he filled in for 4 or 5 games when Campbell was out with the injury, he was pretty good. He held up pretty well. I don't know if anyone was going to hold up really well against the Seahawks last night, but I thought you could have benched Will Campbell weeks ago and not run the risk of like losing him forever. You know what I mean? Mentally. But, and as we were talking about with Pete Kendall, it's like, you're going to have that tough conversation anyway. Like he said it in there, like all bets are off in terms of them having this conversation of moving him to guard. And there's no shame in that. Gray Zabel was the name I was looking for earlier, is one of the guards for the Seahawks who started as a tackle. You can do it. Logan Mankins is another one. You could become a very high level player still, just shifting to guard. That's the one I could have seen a benching for last night.
And we didn't see we didn't see great adjustments by your guys.
No, and I don't know if it was like, hey man, this was the team that got us here. It probably wasn't a good enough team to be a Super Bowl team in a lot of years, but we're going to see if we can keep riding this wave and see if we can make a play.
On Monday, it's a lot better that he didn't pull the trigger and put Josh Dobbs in. But I'm just saying, like, there was a part of me that was like, this is the Super Bowl. Like, this is clearly what's going on now is not working. We should pivot. Like, we're totally
that's how I was feeling about some of those fourth downs, by the way.
Yeah,
Early fourth quarter, you're inside your own 30, but I'm like, this is the game here. Like, you're not moving the ball. Like, it's 4th and 2. Like, let's do it, man. Like, you got to go.
By the way, hot takey, little hot takey, but Brian Billick, we talked to him about this last week at the Super Bowl, and he mentioned when his team won the Super Bowl, the way they won it, right? Big guys up front, Sam Adams and whoever, Tony Siragusa, keeping guys off linebackers, enabling them to make plays defensively. Like that, it's a copycat league. And like we may see now, like there was lukewarm quarterback play and an amazing defense and a conservative game plan and a good and the running game. That's really what won it for the Seahawks, right? Like K9, dude. Our boy.
Yeah, and to your point, and to Billick's point, both teams could have won the game that way.
Yeah.
Right? Like if the Patriots won the game, like that's how they would have done it. Like both teams that were in the Super Bowl could have won the game that way.
So the NFL hates that, by the way, because the Super Bowl sucked.
Yes.
They do.
So
they'll create some more rules where nobody gets hurt and people can run free. Great job by the officials, not a ton of flags. All right, that's it. Cam, you got a show to do. Thank you, everybody in the chat, by the way. Scotty B, happy birthday. Happy early birthday. But for real, though, thank you guys for watching. We got a ton of people right now watching on Twitter, almost 4,000. And that's a lot of fun because, we promote it a little bit. And when we promote it a little bit, it really gets out there. Like, when you promote something on Twitter, like you're not supposed to get 4,000 views when you promote something like just a tiny bit. So thank you guys for watching. We'll keep doing our part. You guys keep doing yours. We'll be back tomorrow. Let's rock and roll, baby. I called Visser. I hope he's feeling better. I'm going to give him a call now. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovakics.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning. So we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Sports.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.